Hi everybody, this is Sarah. So I thought we would do a series of Mercury retrograde readings for this particular cycle. I did this last year and it seemed to work really well. It gave folks a lot of information about what lessons they could expect and how to prepare to make the most of this time and what to avoid during this cycle. We're also going to do a weekly reading like I've been doing, so I would suggest that you look at both to kind of get an idea of what the lessons and the themes are going to be for your particular sign. So the next Mercury retrograde coming up and it's going to be in both Aquarius and Pisces. So it's going to have some interesting lessons for us and a little bit different than normal. I thought we would start out with Aries, of course, the first sign of the zodiac. Look at how this particular alignment will affect you. Aries has a lot of fiery energy and a lot of mental capacity. So things generally hit Aries smack dab in the face or in the head or in the mind, right? So when Mercury goes into retro, you can expect to have a very foggy, confused head. Also, stress headaches are likely, and just feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, and just like it's too much. You've got too much on your plate, you're juggling too much, you have too many irons in the fire, all those euphemisms for you're too busy. And guess what? You really are too busy, Aries. So Mercury retrograde is going to highlight these types of issues. It's not something we really should be afraid of. We need to just look at it and embrace it for what it is, that it is a great time to kind of get back on track and kind of see what needs to be edited or changed in our life. The best thing to do is just breathe through this and prepare. Prepare now. Don't overcommit during this time. Don't try, 2 jobs while you're also thinking about making a trip across the country backpacking, okay? So kind of slow that down. So let's look at this more in depth. When Mercury retrograde is in Aquarius, the sign that governs relationships and friendships, we're looking at those type of issues, okay? So we can expect silly, petty squabbles, misunderstandings, those kinds of things. Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you text me when you actually called and text your friend or your partner, but for some reason they didn't get it till, the next day. We have those kind of things happening anyway with Mercury, but yeah, it's definitely going to highlight that. You probably also will have miscommunications at work, so it's very wise to check and double check before you send that email. Yeah, and also blind copy yourself and just throw it in a folder. Make sure that you have a paperwork trail to cover what you're doing and make sure that things are turned in ahead of schedule. Don't wait till the day of the deadline because that's when something's going to happen. And definitely back up your computer, back up your work before we get into Mercury. In the Pisces part of this, you can expect to get caught up in daydreams and escapism. So you may spend more time playing video games, more time scrolling through Facebook, and more time just daydreaming and kind of being in that kind of fog. So it's going to be kind of difficult really to motivate yourself to get these projects done and especially to beat the deadline. So just be aware of that. Don't let your day-to-day chores slip either. If you have reports or you have, even an exercise program, make sure you stay with that, stay on track during Mercury retrograde. This, though, is a good time for you to write that book or work on any kind of projects involving photography, film, or painting. What do the cards say specifically for Aries? And I guess I should also say this is a general reading and is probably not going to be for everyone. So if this doesn't resonate, no problem. Move on, and I hope you find what you're looking for. Okay, so if you're still here, we're going to say this is resonating. So the first card is, interesting, the Hierophant. So this looks like your ideas on religion and spirituality may be challenged during this time. The idea of organized religion doesn't really set well with Aries to begin with. You don't really feel like you need someone to direct you because you are in touch with the divine, and you don't need anyone else to facilitate the experience or to hand you down a bunch of rules or things like that that don't really apply. Anything that's arcane or old, you really don't have time for anyway. Take this time to really think about that and look at your spiritual side. We all have a spiritual side. And even if you are not spiritual and you don't believe in fate or God or goddess or the divine or the space pope, whatever, that's okay. You can believe in yourself because you can be spiritual and understand that you're in charge of your own destiny. Yeah, this is a good time to really sit down and look over those kinds of issues in your life. Have you been paying attention to own internal wisdom and intuitive abilities, or are you just dismissing them in favor of cold, hard logic? Aries is kind of torn between that, between making a quick, fast decision or setting with things and really listening to your gut. And you know, when you don't listen to your gut, things don't go well. Maybe take this time, meditate, do some journaling, spend some time outside if the weather permits, and get back in touch with that part of yourself. You have all the wisdom that you're seeking already, and you know exactly what you need to be doing and what's right for you. But often you don't listen to that internal voice because it's not logical, it's not practical, and it may not seem like it's moving you forward towards your goals. But guess what? It is. So it's time to reconnect with yourself and your own wisdom. Take this time to maybe schedule some downtime, to go camping, to, do something for you too, because Aries has a hard time with that. You're busy all the time. That's something all the fire signs have. We're just too busy. We don't run from a challenge. So you have the tendency to overcommit. So build in some self-care during this cycle. Okay, so we're off to a pretty good start here. Let's draw the next card. Five of Swords. Okay, this is one of those moments to take stock and to look at your present situation. If you have in the past, or you are about to do something like cutting corners or maybe do something that's a little bit underhanded, I would say this is a warning not to do it. And I know it may seem like this is the only way to get this project off the ground or to get this paperwork submitted or to do whatever, but don't cheat, okay? It's likely that if you do resort to those types of tactics, you're going to end up getting caught and it's going to be a huge fallout. You'll be disqualified from whatever program or whatever thing you're applying to. You will also lose the trust of the people around you, including your friends too and colleagues. And there's even more. It's likely that there will be aggression and anger because you did cut these corners. So don't do it. Even though it seems like the only way you can get this done is to do that, to do something a little bit, shady, don't do it. Don't try and game the system. Don't try and cheat because it will not work out. And when you're caught, it will be a huge repercussion, much worse than what you expect. So take this as a warning now and stay the course. If the situation looks like it's impossible unless you do game the system, then take this as a sign it's not for you. Even though it may be exactly what you think you're supposed to be doing, this is a sign it isn't for you. You're off the path, okay? Let's pull the last card. Okay. The last card for this cycle is the Queen of Pentacles. So this is a much nicer card. Okay, it's time to look over your current situation and see how far you've come. Yeah? You're making money. No, you're not rolling in the dough, but you are making money and it's steady and you're living a much better life than you were this time last year. No, things aren't perfect and no, you're not where you want to be, but you should celebrate your victories even as you continue to build that empire, Aries. Take this time to really look how far you've come. Give yourself a pat on the back and be proud of these victories. Yeah? Look at what worked. And look how you took your ideas and you overcame challenges and you transformed your life by putting one foot in front of the other. Aries doesn't get a lot of help from other people, partly because, once again, fire signs don't accept a lot of help and they don't know how to ask for help, but they also just don't get a lot of help or support from other people. So you've done almost all of this on your own. So you should be very proud of yourself. So take some time to really think about that during this cycle too. Reflect on how far you've come and use this too to remind you that no, you haven't gotten everything that you're desiring, but you're moving forward and you're going in the right direction. This is also a great time to share the wealth. Clean out your closet, clean out your cupboards, anything, your storage unit, all of it, and donate useful items to charity. Help other people out. It's really not worth your time to have a garage sale or go to the flea market. So if you've been holding on to items hoping to sell them later on, on, just go ahead and donate them. Clear out the clutter, clear out old paperwork, old items that are broken or no longer of use. Get rid of all of that stuff to make room for new energy to come in, and it will come back to you karmatically triple, okay? And it will also help you make room for more good fortune, of course, to enter your life by donating. So not too bad, Aries, not too bad at all. Yes, you still have to check and double check your appointments, check the dates, check the time, make sure that the doctor's not now suddenly in another office somewhere and they sent you a letter that you never got, one of those things. And also watch your temper as things are canceled at the last minute. Don't take it personal, don't get angry. Don't get angry when people stand you up on a long-standing date, or when they, say they're going to email or send a check or pay an invoice or something like that, and they don't do it when they say they're going to. You'll be able to handle this retrograde pretty well, all in all. No, it's not going to be fun, but it's also not going to be as bad as some of them. Let's see what your biggest tool to cope with this energy will be. I Reiki'd and pulled a fairy card, so let's see what it is. Be honest with yourself. This is a good one for this alignment. If something isn't working, you don't really like to admit defeat. You feel like you can just fix it if you just worked harder, or you came at it from a different direction, or you applied more pressure. You can figure out this puzzle. But sometimes things just don't work out, and they're not supposed to. And that's okay. It's a life lesson to learn when to stop pushing and to let things go, and either they will fall into place or they weren't meant for you. And it sounds so simple, but I know it's a really tough lesson, and I struggle with it myself, If you've been kind of on the fence and not really happy about some things, take this time and ask yourself, are you happy? Are you happy with your current situation? Are you happy with where you're living? Are you happy with your career? Should you go back to school? Have you fallen into the trap of arguing rather than talking with your spouse? It's time to be honest with yourself about the situations around you and make the necessary changes. That being said, don't jump out there and make any big changes until March the 16th or later. Just use this time now to look over what's working in your life and what's not. It would be great if you could take some time and journal this out and look at the different areas of your life. Look at your spirituality, of course. Look at your career, look at your relationship, look at your finances. What's working and what's not? What can you improve on with a simple tweak, and what really needs to be overhauled? Yeah. All in all, this cycle is meant for this type of work. It's meant for us to kind of do some course corrections, audit our lives, and really get a deeper understanding of what is working and what isn't. Because life moves so fast that we get caught up in the day-to-day stuff that it's really hard to notice that we've gotten off the path, or that we're doing things that don't make us happy anymore, right? If you're seeking closure or answers from someone in the past, it's likely they're going to show up too during this time. A past romantic partner, or even a friend that maybe you had a falling out with. Now, this doesn't mean that this is a sign you should go back with them. I mean, you can if you want to, of course, but this is more about that closure, and also about the nostalgia for the past that we get during Mercury retrograde. We start thinking about past relationships, past jobs, past places we lived or went to school, and we have a tendency to romanticize them. There is a reason why we left them. But if you want to go back and re-engage with these lessons, then go right ahead. They will probably be the same type of lessons though. I don't see a big major change, okay? It's going to be what it was before. That being said, once again, don't jump out there. Don't move house or divorce or move in with someone or get married in Vegas or anything like that until after the 16th, unless you already had this marriage planned. What I'm talking about is don't do a major change. If you've already been looking at houses and you're about to sign the paperwork, that's one thing. But don't just get an idea during Mercury retrograde that you should marry this person and then do it within the cycle. Same thing with moving house, quitting a job, those types of things. And any new jobs, if you've been applying to them before Mercury retrograde, you should be okay. If this is something new that just happens during Mercury retrograde, that it will not be a job that lasts very long or that you stick with for very long. Okay, so set with this energy, talk to these people if that seems like the thing to do, and give it some time. and see after the 16th of March where you are. If you still feel like this, if you still feel like you want to engage with them. It's a lot, but it's really all in all positive. Even though you're tempted, don't cut corners, stay the course, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, okay? Take the time to really look at your victories, look at how far you've come, and pat yourself on the back and give yourself a reward in whatever way that makes the most sense to you. I hope you found this helpful, and if you haven't already, like I said, be sure and watch the weekly forecast and subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. We have a bunch of new videos planned, and I will have more Mercury retrograde information up soon. Reiki blessings. Bye-bye.